Hey team, welcome to the Baby Playbook podcast. So nice to be back with you for another week of episodes. Thanks so much for just, I know we're really busy. So thanks so much for tuning in when you do and giving it the time and hopefully enjoying what you're listening to. So this week is another feature episode week. So what I've been doing on the podcast is I've been kind of collating all these different amazing podcasts that I got the privilege to appear on during my, motherhood journey when I was pregnant to when I first became a mum towards, having my second. I got to really share my experience on all different topics and levels of motherhood on a range of different podcasts. So this week is a special episode being featured from the Mothers and Daughters podcast by Deanne and Jordana. This mother and daughter duo are such a powerhouse. They have created such an interesting podcast. Of course, it's in the name, Mothers and Daughters, where they sit down with different mum and daughter duos. And I guess you just get to share what your experience is, as a mum and a daughter in your relationship, whether you've become a mother yourself and how that's changed your perspective on your own mum. You just get to share a lot about that relationship, and your relationship with your mum very much changes once you become a mum yourself in all different ways. And, unfortunately for some that might be a negative change. I was really lucky where it was a positive change. My mum has been nothing short of incredible in terms of like a support, become an amazing friend of mine. Just like so much love and support comes from her in so many different ways that I feel incredibly lucky to have her around. So I was so excited, and my mum was so excited to sit down with Deanne and Jordana to have a bit of a chat. I've chopped this up in two because it was a lengthy episode. We had a lot to talk about. So this episode, part one, we delve into, I guess, what our relationship is like. And for the main part, my mum really gets to share what her journey as a new mum was like. And, we're taking this back, I'm her youngest and I'm now 32 years old. Is that how old I am? I had to think about that for a second. So taking it back 30 years ago. And this is when my mum and my dad moved to Australia all by themselves, had a fresh baby. My elder sister Anna had no help here, had no one to rely on, just had to do it themselves. Got full-time jobs, were learning English. It's such a crazy story to me, and so admirable now that I've become a mum and can really reflect on that myself. So I want you to enjoy this episode. Let me know what you think of it, and let's get straight into it.
Who's the person you turn to when you need advice? The person who gives you confidence and strength? The person who's been your biggest support? The person you shop with, ask their opinion and trust them implicitly? For me, it's... Hi, Ma.
Hi, Del. As a mother and daughter, we know we have a close bond, but each mother and daughter relationship is unique and different, and that's exactly what we want to explore.
Each week, we'll sit down with mothers and daughters and talk about their bond, from the ones who work together to others who have survived, shared passions, overcome loss, and in general have a great relationship that is worth sharing. This is
Mothers and Daughters Podcast.
Hi, Ma.
Hi, Del. How are you?
Good. Now.
Yeah. I was going to say, over? How's your week been?
Out of ISO. Yes, my week has been in isolation, thanks to Mason, but thankfully he wasn't sick. He was fine. No one else caught it from him.
Amazing.
So we just had a fun week at home. Not.
Well, obviously the boys didn't mind.
No, they didn't want to go back to school. And I dropped them pretty much as school opened. I was like, goodbye.
That's good.
Love you.
Anyway, it's good that Mason got through it thank goodness, compared to so many other stories that we hear.
Exactly. So, yeah, very grateful that Mace was fine.
Yeah, strong little boy.
He is. And I managed to avoid it.
Dodge it. Another bullet.
Another week.
So did we.
Yes.
So did the other grandparents.
Yeah, so none of the grandparents got it. None of the parents caught it. So, just a week of lying low.
Yes.
It's all fine.
And back to normal.
And back to normal. And the best news after it and Just Like That is getting a second season.
Yes, I saw that.
I mean, not surprising.
As in they've already started.
I'm sure they've already started it.
Yeah.
Even the Writers podcast, which I listen to, and if you do watch, I highly recommend listening to that after watching the episodes. They were almost inferring that they were already writing the second season. So I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, it was, I think, only 10 episodes.
It was only 10.
You know, and it's like just as you get into it, it's over.
Yeah.
So obviously if something you feel like that, then they definitely need to do a second season.
Yeah, I think not everybody was on board with it, as in the audience reaction. Some people didn't love it. But like I said, if you're expecting it to be as revolutionary as Sex and the City was back in the day, you're going to be disappointed. It's not the same. It is a reboot nostalgia moment. So you take it for the nostalgia.
Well,
not
and
for
they're older
else.
and they're more mature and
it's a different storyline.
Yeah, of course.
But the fashion is unreal.
Yeah, so it's enjoyable just to even watch it for that.
Exactly. It's worth it just to watch for that. And the fact that they film it in New York. So, you know, it's just a bit of fun. It's a TV show people enjoy.
Yes.
Anyway, today's episode, Nicolina and Danica, they were, I mean, so much. Danica could have spoken the whole time.
I think it was very sweet.
You'll notice she really is very proud of her girls.
Yes, and a lot to say.
Yes.
You know, but I think Nicolina was like, okay, Mum.
It's about me too.
Mum. Yeah, like it is mothers and daughters.
Yeah,
just mothers, not just mothers.
Yeah, yeah. But you could tell she's very proud of her 3 girls. And her grandkids that she has now. She really loves looking after them and, you know, has been working very hard in the aged care sector, which is just such an admirable job, as you'll hear what she does. But Nicolina's great. She is the writer for 9 Honey. She does the parenting, and she even has her own parenting advice ebook, which you can get on her Instagram. So she's at Hey Nicolina K. I'll link to it in the show notes so you can get it. But she's a great wealth of knowledge when it comes to parenting, and is due with her second little boy same time as me.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun listening to, well, a lot of Danica's stories.
Yes.
Which was very sweet.
Yeah, as you say, she was very proud and you know, like you know, leaving her home country.
Yes.
And coming here and setting up a new life with, you know, no support or anything
no family,
like that.
No nothing, which Nicolina also references because she struggled a lot when she first had Noah and was very open and honest about it. And she does the same on her own Instagram page, and now does a lot of funny real life parenting moments. If you need a laugh, I highly recommend looking at hers. But she admitted how hard she struggled with the sort of motherhood and can't believe how her mum did it with no one.
With 3 children.
Yes.
And obviously coming to a country where she didn't speak the language either.
Yeah.
She had to learn English. Work. She's clever. She's clever.
Very
lady.
clever.
Clever lady.
But, you know, she said that she would change shifts with her husband, you know, so that the girls would always obviously have someone looking after them because they didn't have the family support. And so Nicolina really appreciates the fact that she's got her mum and relies on her family so much, and they helped her through her initial sort of baby blues to kind of make herself or give herself her identity again. So it's really nice how much she really appreciated her mum for everything that she did.
Yeah. Very, very nice.
Yes.
Very nice story. Yeah.
So everybody stay safe. Hope if you're in ISO and this is your break time, I hope you enjoy it. And we look forward to sharing our next episode with you next week. To get started, can you both tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Okay. As we say, my name is Danica, and I was born in Macedonia. More than 30 years I've been living in Australia. And the journey to come to Australia was a bit funny, yeah. I was pregnant with my first daughter, and we booked with my husband tickets to come to Australia. And the day before the flight, I changed my mind. And I sit with my husband and I say, look, I'm scared. It's a very long trip. And what if something happened? It's our first child, and I don't want to risk anything. We went back to the travel agency to ask if we both can return the tickets. They say, for you, we have no choice. We have to do. But my husband, he has to come. And I said to him, that's fine. It's only a month and something. And then I will have Anna, and I come in 2 months, I'll be there. You're not going to miss much. And then, but what you think doesn't work like that. What's happened took me for about more than 5 months to have the visa for the baby. I had my visa, but you have to get the visa for the baby too.
Right.
And Anna was about 7 months when I was able to come to Australia.
Gosh.
That must have been quite a reunion after that.
Yeah. And another thing, I was still working there. Over there, you can have a maternity leave, 1 year maternity leave with pay, and you go back to your work after 1 year. And I say, okay, let's try what's happening. Come with Anna, stay here for another 7 months. And when I went back to work, I was pregnant 4 months with the second daughter.
Oh, my gosh.
And then what I did, after 4 months, I came back to Australia. I had my second daughter, Maria, here in Australia. And for Nikki, I give up my job and I stay in Australia.
What a mum.
Yeah. But always, my husband was very supportive. We understand what we have to do and did work well, because I think it's hard to leave your country, especially there was not much reason to leave. I had a good job. I was working. My husband has a job. He was working too. But as a mechanical engineer, he got a visa, and we say, okay, let's try. Go and see how we're going. And probably when the first daughter starts school, we're going to go back and live there. But hasn't happened, and I'm glad it didn't happen. Yeah, that's something about me. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's an amazing story.
You did well.
Thank you.
Well, I feel like my mum's battler story really makes mine look pretty easygoing. But I guess that's a good example of how I, managed to have such a privileged life growing up in Australia. But yeah, a little bit about me. So I'm the youngest of three girls, and I am married. I've got a little baby boy, Noah, and I'm pregnant with my second now, who's due very soon.
Congratulations. Wow, you were hiding it under the computer or screen there very well. You don't look pregnant at all.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, second pregnancy, you kind of forget you're even pregnant. You're too busy to check the app to see what fruit or vegetable the child is.
So tell me about it. I'm third time round, and this one has had maybe no photo. I think I've taken one bump photo the entire time, and I'm halfway. And with my first, I got every fruit and I took photos with it. And this one, I'm like, you're there, you're safe. That's about as good as it's going to get this time, really.
Anyway, that's lovely. Continue.
the third one is always less filmed.
Well, yeah. So I'm 29, and I'm just really kind of dipping back into my career after having a bit of a pause after baby number 1, and about to have another pause after baby number 2. But I work as a writer, so specifically in parenting, which is a career that really blossomed after I became a parent. It wasn't something that I thought I would be doing, but I am. And I really love it dearly. And and I definitely get my great work ethic from my mum, who has had a very long career as a diversional therapist in Australia. So still working as well, even though I use her as a babysitter, she still is adamant that she wants to work 3 days a week. So yeah, that's us.
Yeah, spending the time with the grandkids.
Greatest joy, huh?
Very, very precious, and I never will. Somebody will ask me, "Can you work more?" No, I say 3 days, and the rest is for my grandchildren.
That's very nice. Very nice. May I ask you as well, then, when you came to Australia, with obviously, your firstborn, how did you cope? I mean, did you leave obviously family behind? I mean, what about your parents or?
I have, my mom is not alive anymore, but she was a very strong woman. She said to me, "You belong with your husband. Don't worry about us. We will be fine." I know it wasn't easy for them. It was hard, but she was more relief when I come here to be with my husband and the kids and create a family. Unfortunately, she didn't live long enough even she didn't know when Nikki was born. But her support was amazing, let's say, and was hard. We didn't have anybody here. Yes. Some people come, they have relatives, they have somebody. We didn't have anything. We were lucky. My husband had the visa, and based on that, we came to Australia on my husband's visa. And still no family, but we managed to look after the children, try to get them with the school to achieve. And also there was a time when because working as a aged care person, I was able to do some afternoon shifts and to swap the kids at 5 o'clock, swap the children.
Yes.
My husband have them, and I will go and work afternoon shift while they were small. And but that was all. Anywhere we will go, there will all of us, 5 of us.
Nice, all go together.
If somebody's sick, everybody is in the hospital together.
What for you, Nicolina? What was your perspective of your childhood like?
Yeah, I mean, so what, as Mum said, it was really just us, like a very tight-knit family unit. Of course we had friends that we made at school. Of course we had, very close family friends that we'd made as well, just in our community. But I just remember a lot of, just me and my sisters. And lucky enough, I mean, not to say that I wouldn't have been close to a brother, but I feel very lucky that I do have 2 sisters. And it was kind of like we were very close in age. So we were all very good friends in a sense. We all stayed in the same room with bunk beds and all that sort of stuff. So a very, very close-knit family. And I think what I really appreciated is that my mum and dad knew how lucky they were to be here. So our childhood was just filled with a lot of adventure. Dad was always on the weekend wanting to explore just even Sydney or, I just remember going to the Blue Mountains a lot, because back 20 years ago when you were taking a family trip, it was all very local domestic travel. So we just always made the most of everything. Every weekend we had together was very adventurous and just a lot of exploring, because I think they knew just how lucky we were to be here and to be able to enjoy such an amazing country. And then, I was also lucky enough to have another side of it where we could travel back to Macedonia. I remember, I was on a flight when I was 2000, so that would have been when I was 7. And since then I've been to Macedonia countless times. We always used to do, family trip either yearly or as we got older, every 2 to 3 years. We would kind of pick and choose which one we wanted to join in on and which one we wanted to stay home for and potentially have a house party behind our parents' back. But that was very different. But yeah, so just very fortunate to have grown up here with, very close siblings who I consider friends, and my parents who always supported us, but then also being able to go back and experience family for everything that it is, and the large personalities and the crazy uncles and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they used to go to the same primary, same high school.
Yeah.
And I remember the high school, the principal say, when Nikki was the last to finish, say, I won't have any more Koevsky girls. Yeah.
It's nice that you traveled as a pack, because it sometimes can be the reverse, that if you're only each other's sort of support and friends and things like that, it can often go the other way, as you will soon find out when you have two of the same gender. Just wait.
Yeah.
The brothers, especially when they're close in age, at least my two anyway, are like that. But it's nice as you grow up that you're each other's friends just as much as you are siblings, and that's just really lovely to hear.
Yeah, that was very important. Like I will drop them to school, and my neighbor has a daughter age between Anna's and Maria's age, and she was just one because her other two sisters were grow up, married, have their own children, and she will like to play with the girls. And then she will say, but they don't like to come. I say, there are 3, you just come. And,
they were a gang, or they were a force on their own. Well, that's why I guess I was asking earlier. It's very hard. I mean, especially having 3 young children and no grandparents here. Yeah. I mean, to see obviously how you are obviously with your own children and grandchildren and the support you are, I'm sure you probably reflect and look back and think, how did I do that? I mean, it's funny. I guess you just did. No choice.
You don't have a choice. No. You have to do. And that's make you strong. You say, yes, I can do. There was one time when the girls were in primary and they say, Mom, you just drop us in front of the school and you go to work. I was lucky one because in HK you start 9:00 and I can get them to the school and go to work. And then she said, the other parents, they come to assembly and stuff. And I went back home and said to my husband, look, probably I should give up one day. And I stopped working on Fridays, and that was my time to give to them, go to the school and just make them to feel like, my mom is there.
And obviously you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very nice, like to talk to the teachers, to see them, and it was really good because they used to go after school care. It was like we have to make sure they are well looked after. We don't, but also was hard to manage everything, but we did between us, like what I say before, we swapped them. I will work in the afternoon. Yeah.
Well, and you obviously gave them a lot of love, and so a lot of confidence, and they grew up obviously. I'm only seeing one beautiful daughter, but I'm sure the other two are just as confident and well loved.
I'm very happy we grow up very successful kids. They are really all very different, but all very successful, and I feel so proud.
That's lovely.
With our input too, trying to just love them, but make sure they growing up well, with well manners, respect others, do things which are correct and stuff like that. Yeah.
Very nice.
And Nicolina, what was it like for you? I mean, just reflecting on your mum, but going back to work after having Noah, did you feel because you saw your mum do it, did you feel quite confident going back to work? How did you feel?
Yeah, so I felt, and I've like been very open and honest about it, but when I had Noah, I went through a bit of a struggle being him being my first child, really just confronted with motherhood. I just thought it kind of hit me like a bit of a bus. And so I definitely had to take a couple of months there, especially that newborn phase, to work through some, postnatal blues and really realize that my life had changed, but I was able to manage it and I was able to still be myself and a great mum with the help of, my mum and my siblings, which was amazing. So that, I think, scared me a little more than I thought going back to work, because prior to having Noah, I was really like kicking some pretty good career goals. I was really powering through my pregnancy as if I, wasn't going to be stopped regardless of having a child. I thought, oh, this is just going to be a baby, and then I'll take my couple of months off and then I'll go back to all these great things that I was doing. And I quickly realized that not necessarily that it couldn't be done that way, but that I guess you can have everything you want, but you need to balance it out as best as you can once you have a child. And so whereas I thought I would be ready to go to work within 4 months or something like that, I thought, I'll be back here, guys, don't miss me for too long. I ended up going back at about 8 months, which, I was pretty proud of myself, because I thought at that point I'd probably take up to 12 months off. And, if you'd like to take 12 months and if you're really enjoying it and if that's something that, is suitable to you, then I commend all mums, whatever they decide to do. But for me, I was definitely ready at 8 months to have a little bit more time to myself, and to really get back into, some passion projects and just have a little bit of me time. Honestly, it was probably I need a bit of a break.
It's completely justified as well to have, and I think it's important. I mean, I've said this before, Mum went back to work when I still don't understand how, I was 2 weeks old.
2 weeks old.
Still not quite sure how she did that. And, I think there's nothing wrong with having a working mum or seeing your mum sort of go do things. It doesn't have to be 5 days. It can be 1 day, or even just have a passion project that's at home. I think it's important, to have that and for your kids to see that, whether or not it's a paid position or not, just something that you're passionate about outside of the kids, I think it's really important for them. And I think it's hard when you feel like you have to justify that and say, I want time for myself, or I want to go back before the 12 months. Because as mums, we often are kicking career goals and then we have to sidestep when we have kids, because you're constantly doing that juggle of part-time, early finish and all those sorts of things. So I completely understand where that sort of hesitation but also need to go back to work came from.
Okay, I'm going to come in and interrupt now. I have chopped up this feature episode into 2 bits, because what I want to do is next week, I want to give you part 2 to listen to, which is an extension of my chat with my mum as we sat down for the Mothers and Daughters podcast, where we really delve into a few other kind of different aspects of motherhood. And one of those very much being the experience of having a baby in COVID, which I know a lot of people can relate to. Of course, lots of babies were born during COVID and lots of mums became first-time mums during COVID, including me. So I share a little bit about that. My mum shares a little bit about that. We also have some rapid-fire questions thrown at us, just about like what traits we feel like we've adopted from each other. And it's just a really, really nice, beautiful kind of wrap-up of our amazing episode from the Mothers and Daughters podcast, which you can catch anywhere that you listen to your podcast, whether it's this platform or others. Mothers and Daughters, and the and is the and symbol by Deanne and Jordana. Hey, tune in next week to listen to part 2, and make sure you subscribe and follow and get your notifications on each podcast platform so that you know every time a new episode drops on the Baby Playbook podcast. Chat soon.